Flat burrs or conical burrs? That is the question, one that's been fueling debate in online coffee and espresso forums for as long as the option has existed. Do you prefer rich, heavy-bodied brews or fruity, clean cups? The answer to this question is something every single home brewer had to find for themselves before buying a grinder until now. Hey there, coffee lovers. Mark here from Whole Latte Love with the Varia VS6. These grinders here, they're unlike anything I've ever seen before, and I've been reviewing grinders professionally for over a decade. The space-grade aluminum construction and 300-watt variable RPM motor are impressive, sure, but what really makes the VS6 stand out is that it's a true shapeshifter. As far as I know, it's the only grinder in the world capable of using both flat and conical burrs. Now, what does that get for you? More variation in flavor outcomes than any other grinder can offer. With 8 different burr sets available, the VS6 can be optimized for your preferred brew method and to produce whatever flavor profile you're seeking, from highlighted acidity or sweetness, high clarity, full body, balance, and beyond. Now, in this review, I'll take you through the key features, open up the VS6 for a look at the burrs and grind chamber, share a ton of performance testing results, and talk through some workflows to help you get the most out of the variable RPM functionality. Ultimately, I'm going to show you the potential a grinder with modular burrs and variable RPM has to change the way you taste your coffee at home. The VS6 comes with a pair of factory-installed 58mm Supernova flat burrs. These are well-rounded, all-purpose burrs designed to give you a balance between acidity and sweetness, body and clarity, but they're really just the beginning. Currently, Varia makes 4 flat burr upgrades for the VS6, and each of them brings something different to the table. The Supernova Gold Titanium set maximizes sweetness and acidity while reducing bitterness. The Hypernova Iridescent Titanium set increases clarity and balance. The Hypernova Ultra Plasma set boosts clarity and reduces bitterness even further. And the Kilonova DLC gives you maximum sweetness and body. And those are just the flat burrs. Varia also makes each of these burr upgrades as 63mm conical sets, which further changes the flavor profile you'll experience when brewing. For instance, if you get the Hypernova Ultra Plasma in a conical burr, you'll increase the sweetness and body of your brew compared to the flat burr set. Now, the versatility you get with these 8 different burr options really can't be understated, and that's emphasized further by the variable speed motor. With the VS6, you can adjust grind speed between 500 and 1600 RPM in 100 RPM increments, which impacts the results in your cup. Slower grind speeds help develop flavors and increase body when grinding for filter sizes, while higher speeds improve clarity when grinding for espresso. I've already said this, but I really do think it's worth repeating. In the 13 years I've been making these videos and working as a coffee professional, I've never seen a grinder capable of this much versatility. If you're the kind of person who likes to experiment, who wants to tweak parameters to try and find the optimal extraction profiles for the coffees you enjoy, the VS6 is truly worth getting excited about. No other grinder is going to give you this much room to play. Even without its unmatched versatility, the VS6 would be a compelling option for any single dosing enthusiast. It's a true all-purpose grinder, offering a range that extends beyond espresso fine and cold brew coarse, and despite this, it's exceptionally precise. Each marking on the hopper represents a burr shift of just 5 microns, and there's a very predictable change in grind size based on those marks. More on that in our testing. Stepless adjustments are made by rotating the dosing chamber, and each whole number hash mark has a rotation counter to keep track of how many full rotations you've made while adjusting your grind. The VS6 has all the tools you need to achieve zero retention grinding and reduce static. In addition to the RDT sprayer, there's an active ionization needle that neutralizes static electricity, a removable ground chute with spring-loaded knocker, angled geometry, and bellows to make sure the chamber is cleared after every grind cycle. The VS6 here, it really is a freaking tank made from space-grade CNC machined aluminum alloys This is a heavy metal machine, nearly 24 pounds to be exact, and that's surprising given how compact it is. That weight, it's coming in part from the brushless 300-watt motor. Now that's the same level of power you get from other popular prosumer grinders like the Giotto E6P, and even more powerful than Eureka's Mignon line, and yet the grinder is remarkably quiet, clocking in at about 65 decibels. Now, everything about the VS6 has been machined to uncompromising standards. Tolerances are tight, just 0.02 of a millimeter. The exterior, also made of space-grade aluminum, is powder-coated and scratch-resistant, doesn't show fingerprints, easy to keep your grinder clean, and looking like you just took it out of the box. In the box, it's a TSU1 resin hard case. I mean, just look at this thing. The cutout foam inserts make storing the VS6 and all of its component accessories simple, so you could easily take it on the road with you. And you know, this case is so serious, I bet it could fall out of a moving vehicle and still be totally fine. Using the VS6, it's pretty simple. You put your whole beans in the top, press the button, and ground coffee comes out of the chute into the dosing cup. There's not much more to it than that. Let me show you how I prepare a dose for brewing espresso. Now, I've already dialed in my grind for espresso, so you can see a good starting point is around, that 1.5 to 2 range. So I weighed out my 18-gram dose, and I've got 2 dosing cups here that I'll use to perform a hot start. I'm grinding for espresso, and as a general rule, a faster RPM is going to give me more fines. Now, that's going to help create more restriction and get you a fuller extraction when brewing espresso, especially with a specialty grade light roasted coffee. So I'll just check to make sure I'm at 1600 RPM here, press the button, and I can tip my beans in the top. And boom, 18 grams in, and I'm going to get 18 grams out. Now, if I wanted to switch over to grinding for a pour over, it's easy. I know this coffee dials in for pour over at about a 10, so I rotate the dosing chamber around to 0 with a single dot showing, and I'll reduce the RPMs to 500. Lower speed grinding, it's going to produce fewer fines, which is what I want for my filter coffee. Opening the VS6 is easy if you want to clean the grinder or install a Burr upgrade. First, remove the upper hopper by rotating counterclockwise until free. Remove the indicator ring, remove the ring bearing. Then using your fingernails or similar, lift up on opposite edges of the upper Burr assembly. For cleaning, you're going to want to remove those 4 springs. Then use the provided open-ended wrench to restrain the drive shaft and turn off the locking nut clockwise with the provided locking nut wrench. Remove the flat washer and pull out the lower Burr. There's a thin washer at the base of the drive shaft. Now, if you want to take that out, you can use a magnet or a pick to remove it. Thoroughly clean the grinding chamber and Burr. If installing a flat Burr upgrade, reassemble parts in reverse order. For conical Burrs, installation is the same, but see the installation guide for information on fine-tuning minimum grind size using the included spacers and tools. To install either Burr type, make sure that thin washer is in place and the springs too. Slide the Burr on the drive shaft, making sure it's fully seated. Place the flat washer and the set nut. Then use the open-ended wrench to restrain the drive shaft for flat Burrs or the lower Burr if installing conicals, and tighten the nut firmly, turning counterclockwise. Install the upper Burr and ring bearing. Carefully turn the hopper on clockwise to 0 and back off to your desired grind setting. It's all really easy to do, and in a nice move, Varia includes all the tools you need for removing parts with the grinder and any spare parts you might need, like extra springs and washers. In testing, I have results for grind retention dialed in for espresso. For particle distribution graphs, grinding speed, and sound levels, we tested when dialed in for both espresso and filter coffee. To measure retention at espresso sizes, we used a Lightel CM200 particle analyzer to dial into a median particle size of 252 microns. Using an 18-gram dose, we ran 10 tests. For all the tests, we used 1 spray of RDT. We operated the bellows and the spring-loaded ground chute after all beans were ground through and then weighed the results. Now, here's a graph of those results. 5 of the tests hit the 18 grams right on, and the other 5 were all within 1/10 of a gram. Those are really excellent results. Very easy to get all the ground coffee out of this grinder. No indication of grounds getting stuck in the VS6. Here are the results for grinding speeds. They range from 0.35 grams per second for espresso at 500 RPM up to 2.74 grams per second at 1600 RPM for filter sizes. Now, you can and should experiment with those grinding speeds, but in general, the recommendation is lower RPMs for filter and higher RPMs for espresso. The VS6 is a quiet grinder with an average sound level of 64.9 dB at 500 and 75.8 dB at 1600 RPM. For reference, the high rating there matches our test result for the Eureka Mignon Silencio. Here's the particle distribution graph dialed in for espresso grinding at 1600 RPM. This is fairly typical with the highest concentration in fines under 200 microns and a fairly linear slope down to larger particle sizes. Now that compares very well with other grinders we test. And here's the particle distribution for grinding at 500 RPM for filter sizes with those stock burrs. Again, fairly typical for a quality prosumer level grinder with 50% of the particles in the 425 to 850 micron range. We tested the stock flat burrs, of course, and the cool thing with this grinder is being able to easily switch out and upgrade burrs to customize for your brew method and preferred flavor profile. If you like super techie info, see our website for Varia's laser analyzed particle graphs for espresso and filter sizes for all the upgrade burr sets at both 500 and 1600 RPMs. Out of the box, and that box, it's really an accessory all by itself. You get the VS6 grinder with a magnetic hopper lid, a attachable bean funnel with a silicone seal, a set of silicone bellows for cleaning the grind chamber, Varia's magnetic modular dosing cup with a VS6 exclusive black rim, super cool, the detachable spring-loaded ground chute, an RDT sprayer to reduce static while grinding, cleaning brush, a set of tools for swapping burrs, and a comprehensive replacement parts kit. The accessories are all heavy duty and exude quality. Even the RDT sprayer there is made of sleek black metal. The VS6 here, it truly is unique. Its ability to use both flat and conical burrs combined with a variable RPM motor means it's going to give you more avenues for flavor exploration than literally any other grinder in existence. It's a truly remarkable achievement and one worth celebrating, especially if you enjoy experimenting. And despite all this flexibility, it's extremely approachable. Super simple and easy to use. There's just one button that also doubles as the RPM adjustment knob. Beyond that, the VS6, it's quiet, compact, and built to last. If you want a grinder that you can rely on now and down the road when your interests and skills develop, well, the VS6 is the way to go. Now, if you have questions on a Varia VS6 or anything coffee, use those comments and I'd be happy to get you a detailed answer. I'm Mark. Thanks for watching, and if you love coffee and espresso as much as I do, be sure and subscribe to the channel and come back soon for more of the best on everything coffee, brought to you by Whole Latte Love.